Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Elmo,
I'm Tuna.
and this week we're going to be talking about the games in Gameweek 11. Sunday, 7:15, we had Liverpool 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0.
Yeah, Salah, Wijnaldum, Matip, and an own goal from Semedo, giving Liverpool a pretty comfortable win in what was a pretty comfortable game overall.
Yeah, I expected Wolves to do a bit more, to be honest with you, especially
Yeah,
with the whole, you're suffering with quite a few injuries, especially in defence.
Nico Williams playing, who picked
So,
up
so, whoa. So you froze.
Okay, I'm back.
You're back now. I
Oh,
didn't hear most of it, and then when I started saying whoa, that's when you come back, but your video would still
okay.
paused.
So, yeah, I was saying as you see, at right back, young Nico Williams playing and picking up a pretty early yellow card. I don't know why you wouldn't get someone like Traore running at him for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
So they just didn't really do much. Pedence had a decent chance early on at 0-0. Tried a little chip from the edge of the area, which Kelleher did pretty well to save. He moved his feet really well. A good save in the second half as well from him from Dendonker's header, but a relatively comfortable Premier League debut in the end for Kelleher.
definitely. Yeah. It's a shame they can't spell his name right on the back of his shirt.
Like I said to you, you have to pay per letter. Liverpool team that tried to furlough their staff early this year clearly can't afford that.
What about Wijnaldum?
Well, he has to do his own, bless him. He sews it on before the game. Salah giving Liverpool the lead after a mistake from former Liverpool defender Conor Cody,
Mm,
and an uncharacteristic mistake really from him. He's not a player you expect to make mistakes. He's normally solid, and he's a player that's been linked to Liverpool in January to help cover defensively.
it was probably showing you what he can do. I'll give you a goal if you sign me.
He was like, I used to play for these, well, let him have one, show him that still care a bit. But yeah, it was poor mistake. I don't know why he didn't try and head it and instead trying to chest it down.
But good of Salah. That's kind of things that you expect Salah to do. Look out for their mistakes, constantly pushing forward and trying to get that ball. And it just so happened that Cody did make a mistake, and Salah punished him for it.
Yeah, one of them plays you don't really want to give a chance to. And yeah, poor for Cody. He did then try to make up for it towards the end of the second half, at the end of the first half even, when he thought he'd won a penalty
Yeah,
with
he.
Rick Dave.
I mean, it's always risky. Any player doing an overhead kick to clear a ball in the area, and that's what Mane was trying to do. He went to do an overhead kick to clear it.
Sort of aware enough to see that Cody was also coming in and pulled his foot out.
Ref pointed to the spot. VAR said, I think you need to look at this, and you can clearly see on the replay that there was no contact whatsoever. I think Mane did really well because he was already in the swing of like doing the overhead that he managed to pull his foot away, and there was no contact whatsoever. And obviously, the Liverpool fans made sure they told Cody how they felt about that.
Yeah, in front of the cop as well, which is
Yeah,
obviously where all the fans were. And you sort of could tell from the reaction of the Liverpool players as well that he got it wrong.
yeah.
You don't normally see any team really react like that. Obviously, you see normal complaints, even if it's a Stonewall one, but for every player on the team to complain, and that's where VAR does do its job. Like that's what it's for.
Yeah, I think Mane just like walked. He didn't even complain. He just like walked away and just like, I know that's going to get overturned.
Yeah, one thing that confused me and the commentators as well is why Cody wasn't booked for that. I don't think he actually made too much of it. I think it was one of them he anticipated the contact and went down, as you see quite often.
But I have said this in past
But
videos that if VAR look at a penalty and it gets overturned and it's not a penalty, then why isn't that player punished if it wasn't an actual penalty? And
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think he definitely deserved a yellow card because this is where the referees need to start laying the law down, and the more that they'll punish players for that, the less likely players are going to do it.
especially in a situation like this where there was clearly no contact at all as well.
Mm,
He perhaps got away with one there. And to be fair, a yellow card would have just summed up his night after the error as well.
yeah,
Just 1-0 at half time. I was still nervous because I really rate Wolves and they're normally always really tough games against them. But when Alden stepped up on 58 and killed home a beauty from a player that doesn't normally score too many, a fantastic goal and gave us some breathing room. And Wolves wasn't really doing too much at that point as well. So
I think Mane helped him as well because obviously Mane started running into the box and he kind of dragged defenders away from Wijnaldum and gave Wijnaldum that space to strike it from outside box, and fantastic finish.
it was one of many we saw this weekend from outside of the area. There was a lot
Yeah.
like that. It was actually really similar to a lot of goals that we saw as well.
Mm.
And then Matip, sort of definitely sealed it with a thumping header, a superb header from another player that doesn't particularly score too many, but another big lad. So
Yeah.
you can understand why he's getting up on the end of that.
Short corner to Salah. Salah just whips it in, and I think he had far too much space as well. I don't think the defenders was on Matip like they should have been. Far too much space, just knocks it into back of net, and yeah, like you say, you was a bit nervous when you was only 1-0 at half time. 2-0, that still could have gone either way, but 3-0 that kind of sealed it.
It did, and I mean Liverpool were playing with a lot of confidence throughout the game, and no one more so than Firmino, who was just nutmegging everyone. I think at some point he'd have run off pitch and tried to nutmeg Klopp. So it was nice to see him back to what pretty much is his best. Mane putting out a couple of Cruyff turns, and in effect, it was Mane that led to the own goal as well. Semedo trying to block the cross, and managing to bundle it into his own goal. But he's one of them. If he didn't get a touch, then Mane was going to tap in. So
I think Mane actually tried. I think he kicked it to the defender. To try and hit it into the back of net, and then he just slid in, and just collected it, and goes, "No, no, I'll take it in for you. You're right."
yeah, you're not having that goal. Well, I'll take it away from you. Maybe he had the bet on, so you were going to score more at the end of the season. He didn't want Mane to score. So, but no, a very, very comfortable game for Liverpool. Similar to the Leicester game a couple of weeks ago. And just fantastic from front to back. You mentioned at the start the players that were missing as well. These players are starting to come back.
Hmm.
Alexander Arnold coming on as a sub for Nico Williams, who did pick up a knock, a slight worry. But I've not heard anything about it, so he must be fit. And obviously, it's nice to see Trent coming back.
I think a positive
Jota,
for you as well is the fact that you're already through in Champions League. You're already top as well. So, like you say, you got these players coming back, but this week you can rest some of these key players, and it's very rare that you can rest players in games.
yeah,
If you
and
can rest some of these players and keep your bigger players fit.
in theory, taking nothing away from Midtjylland, obviously they've had some pretty good results. They are the weakest team in the group, so maybe not such a bad game, to play some of the kids in and rotate.
Mm. Yeah, because obviously
Um,
if it was someone like Atalanta, who obviously you have beat, but playing the kids against someone like them and losing 6-0, even though you're already through, that's not a result that you want. Whereas if you only get a draw or a 1-0 loss, or your kids could probably still get a 2-0 win against Midtjylland, then that's not too bad. I think Wolves, we spoke about it last week, but I think Wolves definitely missed Jimenez.
yeah, definitely. And obviously they had a great result last week as well against Arsenal. But yeah, something seemed to just miss from them. They just didn't click at all, and maybe it was a bit of it was still on their minds from last week, and I don't really know.
It could have been, we've spoke about the absence of fans. It could have been the fact that the first game where there has been fans in the stadium, and it just happens to be Liverpool, who we all know that Liverpool fans are very loud. They can make plenty of noise. Even 2,000 fans, I think Klopp said after that, after the game, that when they first went in the stadium just before kickoff, and they heard the fans, and that just sent goosebumps up them.
Yeah,
So maybe that had the effect as well. Maybe the Liverpool fans had a big effect on Wolves.
I mean, the interesting thing as well is Liverpool scoring the 3 goals in the second half when attacking that Kop end.
Mm,
I'd say where all the fans are, and you saw with most of the teams that had fans in this weekend, there were a couple that didn't quite work out, but it did have an effect on these teams.
mm.
And I mean, it's only a good thing, isn't it, for fans to be slowly coming back into stadiums all around the country, Premier League, all the way down to the bottom.
It's good if it's done right, and if the fans behave. Obviously, we won't go into too much detail about some of the situations that happened this weekend, but yeah, it's definitely good. And as long as it's done right, as long as they're following clear government guidance, I'd hate for it to start kicking games off. So obviously, not through fans, but you've got Newcastle who couldn't play their game this weekend. They should have played last Friday against Villa. They had to evacuate the training ground, and Newcastle haven't been able to train yet. I think they're hoping to train at some point this week. I think there's always that worry that people starting to mingle again, that it could flare up again. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, on this game, there was a pretty interesting one from Kelleher. He became the third youngest Liverpool goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet in the Premier League. And the other two were pretty solid, if not spectacular goalkeepers, Scott Carson and Chris Kirkland.
Mm.
And I mean, I think he'd be more than happy to have a career like them two did. So
Yeah.
both going to World Cups and European Championships, both having long careers in the Premier League and decent careers at that. And then on the other end of the pitch, Mo Salah bagged his 86th, I think it was, Premier League goal of his career, 84, sorry, Premier League goal of the career, which equals one and only Cristiano Ronaldo.
Mm.
Which baffles me because I always thought Ronaldo scored a lot more in the Premier League.
Yeah, I did.
And Salah did it in 65 fewer games as well.
I
But
think like you say with Kelleher, you know, he didn't have many shots to save, but the shots that he did really well, and he did look really well. So definitely some positive on that.
yeah, similar to Henderson. Obviously, Henderson's had some Premier League experience as well, but making his debut for Man United, he looked very composed.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So that win for Liverpool took them up to nowhere because they were already second, but 24 points, level on points with Tottenham. You know, they were up there. They won the league last year. There's
Their
no
goals closed
doubt.
on goal difference as well, so that's always a nice little positive.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Liverpool should be up there. You know, they won the league last year. Um, I think the thing is for Wolves, they've been doing well, but that's knocked them down to 10th now on 17 points. Uh, Maybe it was the fans that just had the effect. Maybe they are missing Jimenez, but it's definitely going to be tough without Jimenez. Thanks for watching our videos. Hope you've enjoyed them. Please subscribe if you want to watch the rest of our season, where we'll be bringing you all the matches, our predictions, and plenty of other things surrounded around football. Please follow us on our socials. They're all down below as well. We've got our own YouTube channels as well. Please go and check them out. Plenty of different kind of content across all them as well. I've been Elmo.
I've been Tuna.
Take care.